Hey everyone. Okay, in the last video, part 5, Core Web Vitals update, we were talking about alternating storylines and the ability to sort of mix and match through sections of website contents in such a way that we can do everything that we want to split structure. We can have more or fewer subsections. We can have more or fewer paragraphs. We can have paragraphs that go down alternating paths. We can have images and videos inserted in different ways, but according to whatever rules we want and according to whatever weighting we want. In this way, we can put the whole smorgasbord up and see what Google likes to index the most, and then go back and backtrack and see what Google really likes the most, so that we can then do what? And that's what this video is about. First thing you might think is, okay, once you figure that video's got this certain ratio of backlinks to paragraphs and a certain max number of paragraphs, a certain max number of backlinks, or whatever, a range of backlinks on a page, then isn't that going to be the answer? Here's what's really, because then you're going to do what? To, like, erase everything else and recreate everything in that image. No. And here's why. The only way that we can get better at this next level is to get worse. Okay? To get better, we have to get worse. Here's what I mean. Say it was WordPress. 85% of how you rank is based on backlinks from other websites. Have you ever seen a WordPress website that ranked really, really high that had 100 or 1,000 backlinks to it, and all of those backlinks were always other WordPress websites? No. If they were all other WordPress websites, wouldn't that strike you as being a bit of a bit suspicious? Like, somebody's organized that, right? That doesn't look very natural. Okay. Well, here's another one. Have you ever seen backlinks going to a website all have minified coding? No. Have you ever seen backlinks to a website all have WEBP images? No. So don't you think that if we're going to create our own backlinking structures to websites, that one thing we have to do is make sure that they're not all perfect? Yeah. So guess what? Let me start with this. How many engines do we have, right? If you think of WordPress as an engine, maybe Joomla is a different engine. Do you know what? WordPress is used by about 1/5 of all the websites out there. They're worth about $1 billion. Joomla, it turns out, is worth, I think it's 16 billion, something like that. They've been around longer. They've worked with more companies. Who knows? Then there's Wix, there's Weebly. I mean, all these website builders are out there on the market, right? Just really lots and lots of them. And we have our own CMS, same kind of thing. We have T2H. Well, that's one engine, right? And it has its own general footprint, you could say. If you go through T2H coding, then you can recognize that there's T2H there. If you dug and you try to isolate it. Okay. Is that a problem? No. Is it okay to have a bunch of other websites backlink you if you're WordPress that are also WordPress? Yeah. Joomla can have a bunch of other Joomla websites backlink it? Yeah. Joomla can backlink WordPress. Whatever. A CMS is a CMS. Google doesn't mind if a bunch of websites use the same CMS. But let's take the conversation further. So we can produce unlimited templates with totally unlimited looks, feels, and styles, and we can produce this whole backlink mastery concept. We can do totally unique images. They can all be WEBP. All the contents are unique. We can go millions of pages out and have totally unique contents. We can even do things like alternating storylines. We can add and subtract content blocks. We can add in and subtract different sections, headers, and everything else, right? All of this thing is amazing and cool and great, and we've done this for years and years, and Google loves it, and it works. But guess what? We also have an engine called Easy Page Generator, right? And we can make the same websites with it or different websites with it, but the point is, it is a different engine. When Google looks at the coding of that, it is not the same as T2H. It is a different engine. It's like a lightweight version of T2H, but it's coded differently. It was kind of constructed from scratch, and the coding is different. Okay, so that's important to know. The other thing I want to say is this: lest we forget, our third engine, because we have 3, is HTML Blitz. Now, the thing that makes HTML Blitz totally different is there's a caveat to that. It is not one engine. HTML Blitz means we can go and take any website out there, okay, and we can download the structural website and then change out the images and the contents, maybe change the color scheme. Doesn't really matter. Just, if your industry is for, whatever your industry is, we'll just download templates from a different industry to use for you, and then no one can possibly have an issue with that. No one ever will, because we're going to replace the images and the contents, and no one ever has a right to the template structure. There are only so many template structures. See, this is a header, and then this is this banner block section, right? And then we have these sections down here. Can anyone lay claim to say, you're not allowed to have a header followed by a banner block section followed by this? No, that's the structure of a template. It's just some combination of columns and some combination of rows. And then from there, it just comes down to this: your own images, your own contents, and so on. Can someone else say you don't get to use this font style? No. Google Fonts, right? We pull them in from Google Fonts. No one can say anything about any of that. So as long as we're not using other people's images or other people's contents, then that's no problem. We can use any template we want. And if we go cross industry and just grab tons of templates and start converting them, then that's perfectly fine. Cool thing about HTML Blitz is that we can grab any websites from anywhere, download them, convert them, and when Google looks at the coding, they are those websites coding. Okay? So that means the coding of the website, whatever HTML code that is, okay, means it's not T to H. It's not EasyPG. It's totally different engines, you could say, except they're not. It's HTML websites turned into PHP, the most common thing there is. And so what Google sees is totally different websites backlinking you, okay? And that's our point. We can use any combination of HTML Blitz as the front-end website because we have total control over the beauty and the look and everything else, because it has the fewest parts that we need to work within our engine. Or we can take them and convert them to our engine, or we can convert them to EasyPG. But when we do projects now, guess where we're going? We're going to use theme to HTML, Easy Page Generator, and HTML Blitz. Lots of HTML Blitz websites. So as we build up our inventory and we start using them for everybody, they're different. They're totally different. Google's going to see different combinations of these different engines of websites pointing in, right? And what that means to Google is differentiation, the kind that we expect and want. Now, that's amazing because guess what? We can also remote control all of them that we create. So we can have thousands of websites out there that are as different as the websites you see on theme to HTML, all these things, whether they're T to H or EasyPG or HTML Blitz, it doesn't matter. Any websites at all of these can be about you, about your project. They can be totally hundreds to thousands of different websites, depending on what you're getting from us. All the projects. Same with website installer. But I don't even mean to name these websites. This is scratching the surface. Many of these are based on the same templates, and you know that. That's the idea. They're all based on a certain kind of engine. From T to H, a certain type of template. We've got 330 more templates back into play that were used for the locksmith websites, okay, that are fully modernized now. And that's just a tip of the bucket. We're going to start converting lots of HTML Blitz templates every day to add into the mix. Now, where does that get really, really interesting? Like I said, we can remote control this stuff, but here, I want to make this point too. This is what you call an H1 tag, right? And let me go here to make it even more to the point. Okay. These are banners. This is banner headlines. This is banner buttons, right? And they have things that need to be filled in, right? This is like a header with different sections on it. This is a menu with whatever the the names are supposed to be for the inner pages based on whatever keyword combinations. Then we have these service blocks down here, and they need to click through to inner pages. They need to have some 1, 2, or 3 sentences down here. Then you might have the video, might have the click here button. You might have some combination of things in a sidebar. Then you have all the verbiage with all the H2s and everything else, right? Well, guess what? We have this new UAP that's 5,000 words. It's 1,000 words per page times 5 pages, never before used. And we're going to build on alternating storylines, release that into our projects as we go, just to create even more diversity. But here's the point. We've started to map out one var sheet to rule them all is a concept. That one var sheet, okay, is going to have all the rules for all the crew members to know exactly which tokens to automatically put where on every different thing they create. Whether it's a T to H site, EasyPG, or HTML Blitz, there are going to be certain rules for what goes on every single spot. All the box settings, paragraphs, anchored text coming down, the pages, the tabs, what we use for variables, for the videos, what we use for the images, what we use for clickable links, all the stuff, how the backlinks are used in the different places and everything else, in order to create all of the totally deep level structure we want automatically. Okay, this is all the system variables. Okay, so whether the website project is going to use UAP content or the website project is going to use UTO content doesn't matter. That's the final piece. But all the stuff that has to do with the variables, with the keywords, with how the videos are used, with whatever the selection of cities, all that stuff is going to be pre-built as a standard, one var sheet to rule them all. And that is the standard with all of the nesting and the alternate storyline capability, the backlink mastery, everything, the alternating sections of the attributes and the URLs, page by page by page. That is the standards by which all the websites are going to roll. Okay, that way we can create websites that are so diverse, so different, go down so many different paths that Google cannot even follow. They're going to have, some will have fewer web pages, some will have more. There will not be any rules that Google can just connect to. Okay, some will have longer sitemaps, some will have more pages in the menu, totally different engines, totally different content breakouts, all different images, different sizes, widths, heights, depending on the template. Everything about it is different. So when you're getting projects from us, especially the really big one like the 15K project that really competes within an industry at the level that we did for Locksmiths for 180K, but we got this compressed to a 15K project. All the stuff that we're doing right now is getting built literally into that structure and getting released for all those guys who are coming in at these high-end levels, okay? And that's amazing because you know what? We're going to have a QA guy. We're going to have a QA team sooner or later. Their job is going to be this. We're going to be able to give them keywords that we've already gone through and already found where we rank, industry by industry, client by client, and say, hey, we rank for these keywords here. Okay, let's say, I don't know, 20 keywords just to keep this visually clear. Okay, across these 20 keywords, there are 10 front page spots each. So that's 200 front page spots. We rank for whatever, 87 of them. Okay, go through and mark down on your list all the websites that belong to us. Try. And their job is going to go through those keywords, through those front pages, and try to figure out which websites are ours. Okay, they had better have random results, right? That's how we know we're doing our job right. If they look at the front ends, if they look at the source code, if they try to go through it, but they're not told exactly what they're supposed to look for in the way of the coding, like we know how to tell, right? We can, of course, tell our inventory. You know, if we don't tell them which domain names, their job is to try to figure it out. And they are going to have trouble doing it. If they can figure it out, go through, create more randomness, more variability, change things up to make it harder. But that's interesting, isn't it? The idea that the job of our QA team is to fail to recognize which websites belong to us in a stack of keywords on front page results. And the more they fail, the better we're doing. How's that for crazy? That's where we're going. I don't know anyone that does that at this level this sufficiently, because we can do 2,000 websites a day that are totally different, very professional, and we're getting really, really close to every single one of those websites. When they're produced, they are worthy of the front page, worthy of individual sale to an individual client every time. And that is exactly what we're doing. We're building up that mass structure of variability so that everything we produce for everyone is that powerful. Okay. I don't know anyone else who does that, but I wanted to let you know this is us doing our best for you. This is what we do, and we're doing it cheaper than anyone else can do it, and we have remote control over all of it. So anything we find is working better, any new test we want to run, we can just do that. We can go in and put another variable in and see how it affects everything, how it cascades through, how it affects rank, how it affects visitor traffic. And we can keep capturing leads behind the scenes and filter them into a newsletter anyway and reach out and contact them anyway and send them to the client website anyway. So we can play at the highest levels I've ever imagined. And we're doing it with more layers and layers and layers of deeper level variability than I've ever imagined from us or anyone. And with the latest, greatest coding standards that Google wants. Except that remember, in the future, to get better, we have to get worse. Some of our productions are intentionally going to have non-minified web pages. Some of those websites are going to have non-minified web pages. Some of them are going to have JPG images and PNG instead of WEBP. Some of those websites are going to have both JPG and non-minified coding. Why? Because these things are sold to people at different times by different people anyway, based on whatever they can do. Whatever they're good at. So people buy these in any order, and Google sees that. Google sees websites that have WEBP images but non-minified coding, or the reverse. Or both are done or both are not done. So what are we going to do? Make sure to recreate that environment. So instead of guessing what Google wants, we just get to recreate by reverse engineering it. That's crazy, but we're at the point where that is going to be our modus operandi and our total standard from now on. How's that for walking into 2021 quarter 2 and just driving it up? And so yeah, all you guys with the productions coming in, you're getting the latest greatest standards yet. And the reason that it really matters now, Core Web Vitals hit May 1st. That means that most of the internet doesn't know what happened when they lost rank, and they're not even sure what to do about it. They just figure new Google update that I don't even understand, or I have no idea how to deal with it. And those of you who are taking those reins and saying, I want productions now, I want the latest greatest templates now, I want these updates now, I want to push this new stuff out now, you get to pick up the slack. Okay. I'm going to get back to the stuff we're doing. Those of you for whom we've started jobs but haven't completed them yet, as you can see, it's because we're going through these layers of updates and upgrades that are going into these productions anyway. So thank you for your patience. If we're running a few days late with your projects, if we're running even a week late with your projects, it's because we're doing all this at once. Core Web Vitals, new layers of variability, just the kind of stuff that you feel proud to have on your website when you see it and you realize how extremely advanced your website is compared to everyone else. And backlinking projects you get, for those of you on the backlinking packages, just to get backlinks to your own websites. Even if that's all you want, you just want to leap in and make your website rank higher, and you also want to get traffic from the related websites leading into you, get on these subscriptions, because all the stuff I've been talking about, we're doing that with all of our backlinking projects leading at any client. Okay, so this is incredible. The power of the backlinking that we can do for anybody, and the power of the projects that we have, and our ability to just push button update through all that content every month the right way. Okay, there you go. That's where we are now. And for those of you who've been wondering, or, we've been silent for a little while from our last updates, and that's why. Because we've just been going through these insane layers so that we can come out and explain to you what we've been doing. And now you know. All right, so to all of you guys, as always, thanks for all the support. Thanks for the pushing, getting us here. Because we are building probably the best. I mean it. I'm not trying to be egoistic or anything, but I believe it is the best website development, deployment, and remote control system for upgrading it that I've ever seen on the internet, available openly to the public. And we're trying to do it for the best prices people can manage and we can manage to provide. Okay, thank you very much. Take care. If you got any questions, give me a call. If you don't know much about what we've got going on, go through my YouTube channel, go through my latest videos, see the stuff we have going on. It's really helpful to know. And otherwise, give me a call if you got questions about your project. I love to talk about it. It's free consultations. Let's just talk about your project, what we can do for you. Okay, take care.